So this is the agenda. So first we will see the introduction to the HANA, and then what is S4 HANA, and then we will be seeing the difference between the SOH and S4 HANA, and what is that. So whenever we start any demo, people will always ask me this: are you teaching S4 HANA or SOH? So what is the differences? What differences the developer sees in between SOH and S4H? So, and in-memory database and column store and row store. So as of today, we will be covering these topics. So now, why we have to use, what is this HANA? So HANA, in simple, HANA is a database. HANA is a database. That's it. Nothing new software. It's not a new software. It's a database. So SAP own database. All these years, SAP don't have any specific database for itself. So 30 years back, SAP launched one database which was a failure. So maximum companies, as you know, will be using either Oracle. Maximum companies, 90% of companies are using Oracle, are using that SQL Server, MS SQL, Microsoft SQL as their database. Third-party databases. So SAP has to give the royalty to these companies. Whatever profits they are getting, they have to give a share to these companies, because the backend, the main data will be stored in the database. SAP by itself don't store any data. So now SAP thought that why I should use the third-party softwares? Why I can't have my own database? So what it has done is, it has taken the Sybase. So earlier 70s and 80s, before Oracle, Sybase was the database which was popular. So 70s and 80s, Sybase were the database which is popular. So after Oracle came into picture, Sybase was nowhere. So now SAP has taken over the Sybase license, and they renamed it as HANA. What we call it as HDB, HANA database. Now, what is the difference between the HANA database and the normal database? So what advantages we have on HANA database? That's what we have to see. But before seeing, we have to see the SAP trends. So SAP basic version, SAP architecture. If you see the architecture of SAP, the first version of SAP runs on two-tier architecture. Two-tier architecture. So what is this two-tier architecture? Whenever I start any demo, I will assume that my audience are having zero knowledge. So I'll be starting, suppose you might be knowing the architecture perfectly, but some people still might not know the architecture. So I will be covering a brief detail about what is this two-tier architecture and three-tier architecture. So whenever, let's say this, whenever the developer want to develop anything, so the developer has to keep in mind three things. So first one, user interface. So the developer has to keep in mind user interface, because every person who is using the software need not know anything about computers. Nowadays, 90% of people are using mobile, and on a mobile you are using some computer programs. Because everyone using computer programs does not mean that everyone knows programming. So the program what you are creating will be used by people who don't know anything about software. So whenever we design any program, we have to make sure that the screen where the user interacts should be as simple as possible. Then your business logic is nothing but the main logic where your program gets controlled or executed. Whenever you select some buttons on the screen, this will be controlled by the program. If this program is weak or the response of the program is slow, your program is a failure. So it should work or it should behave correctly. You are selecting a button to save it and it is deleting. It's a waste. So the second thing the developer should keep in mind is business logic. Business logic. And the third thing, what the developer should keep in mind is nothing but your database. Database. So any one of these is weak, your program is a failure. If your database is not secure, if anyone can steal your data easily, then no one will show interest to buy your software. So database security, at the same time your business logic, and the screen design should be as simple as possible, but it should be robust. That means it should serve multiple purposes also, and it should work fast. So based on these three elements, the architecture of any software is designed. Based on the user interface, business logic, and database. Based on these, any software architecture is depending on. So in the first architecture, Microsoft launched its products. So Microsoft launched its products with one tier architecture, single tier architecture. So one tier architecture, single tier architecture. In a single tier architecture, we have presentation, we have application, and we have database, all in a layer, single layer, all in a single layer. Presentation, application, database, all in a single layer. That means the screen is having dependency on the program. This is having dependency on the database. That means if your company is using, say, Sybase, your program should use Sybase commands only. And if your company is using Java or C++ VB, you have to use Visual Basic only to design the screen. Dependency is more. If something is failing, if this fails, this won't work. If this fails, this won't work. So Microsoft's drawback is their database. The database is very weak. The programs are very user-friendly, easy to handle. At the click of a button, everything will happen. Even though people who don't know any programming also can use the Microsoft products. But still, even though this much user-friendly programs, companies don't prefer to use Microsoft products because the database is weak. Anyone can easily hack the database. Still, now also it is very weak. So the drawback of Microsoft architecture is database. So ultimately, even though these two are good, it was a failure. So they came up with two-tier architecture. In a two-tier architecture, database is separate, the user interface and the program are in one layer, and we have something called as database interpreter. So we have something called as database interpreter. Now your code can be with any database commands. You can use Sybase, you can use Oracle, or whatever you use. These statements, these commands will be converted to the database. So here you can use any database you want. The interpreter will take care of conversions. So this architecture or two-tier architecture is called as client-server architecture. Two-tier architecture, client-server architecture. Now, this ruled the market the entire 90s. At that time, internet was not there. So and earlier 2019 and earlier 2000 internet came into picture. So people stopped going to the banks or etc. and they started using everything from their home internet. But the programs which are designed on the physical screen cannot be executed on the internet. And there is a dependency on the screen and the main program. The screen and the main program are dependent. So a program written for one browser won't work for another browser. A program written for one OS won't work for another OS. Example, a program written for Windows can't work for Unix. A program written for Unix can't work for Linux. So because of the dependencies. So in the three-tier architecture, so three-tier. In a three-tier architecture, we have three layers: user interface layer, application layer, that is a program layer, and the database layer. All are separate. So there is no dependency. There is no dependency on presentation to application, application to database. All are independent. So SAP ECC uses this architecture. The screen is not dependent on the application. The application is not dependent on the database. You can use any database you want. You can connect with UI5 application, WebDynpro application, etc. You can use the window, you can use Windows, or you can use Unix, or you can use Linux, but the program will remain the same. So the dependency is very minimum. So three-tier architecture. So SAP ECC, second version of SAP, version 2, three-tier architecture. So three-tier architecture. So your ECC from SAP 4.3 to ECC, it runs on three-tier architecture. Now, in a three-tier architecture, you have to physically install the database and the application server on premises. On premises in the sense, in the company, we have to physically install the server as well as the application server. So now, some companies cannot afford to implement these two in their system. Example, let's assume now you want Microsoft Word. In your system, Microsoft Word is not there. But you can go to your Google Drive and start using your Microsoft Word. The Microsoft Word is not installed in your system physically. It is somewhere, it is installed somewhere. But you can use that as if it is installed in your system. So the MS Office package, if you want to use the complete MS Office package from your system, you can, without installing, you can use it. But a software won't work without installing. So the software of MS Office is installed remotely and they are given permission for you to use it. So whenever you want to use any MS Office products, you can use Google Drive. And this drive is nothing but in the cloud. So the recent architecture what we are using is the cloud architecture also. So there is one more layer which is nothing but the cloud layer. Cloud layer. So the current version of SAP supports the cloud. So nothing but three-tier architecture. The current version supports. Current version supports cloud. Nothing but the four-tier architecture. So we call this as R2, real-time two-tier architecture. We call this as R3, real-time three-tier architecture. Actually, we should call this as R4. R4, real-time four-tier architecture we should call, but SAP calls this as S4. S4. So where S stands for simple, 4 stands for four-tier architecture. So S4 HANA, a four-tier architecture with HANA database. So it is saying that it is not Oracle or something else. It is my database with a 4-tier architecture. So now, is there any rule that every company has to use the cloud instance? Example, in US, some projects are not permitted to store the data outside the company. So defense projects, etc., cannot store the data outside the company because there might be a data theft. So they won't have any permission to install the server outside. So there is no rule that everyone should install the server on the cloud. But there is a possibility that they can install the server on the cloud also. So basic HANA versions of HANA version. We have two types of HANA versions. So S4 is nothing but it is R. Earlier we call it as R. Now we are calling it as simple 4-tier architecture. So SAP says my architecture is very simple, which supports the presentation layer, application layer, database layer, and fourth layer is the cloud. So that is the reason we call it as S4. HANA is a database. So the cloud instance is using the HANA database. So HANA, we have two versions. So the first version, we call it as SOH, is nothing but Suite on HANA. SOH, Suite on HANA. And the second version, S4H, S4H, which is nothing but S4 HANA. Suite on HANA, S4 HANA. Now, what is Suite on HANA? So your existing system, 3-tier architecture, that is your presentation, application, database. Now they are using one more additional database here, which is the HANA database. Your existing ECC architecture will remain the same. Remain the same, but your programs can either connect to the existing normal database or HANA database. That means without disturbing the existing functionalities of anything, you can start using your HANA. But this type of usage is very less in the market. Out of 10 companies, if you take, 2 or 3 companies are using this Suite on HANA, SOH. That means a small layer. It is wearing a mask. ECC is wearing a mask of S4. You can't see the complete advantage of HANA. It is like an ECC version running on HANA database. So in simple, you can call SOH as ECC version, but running on HANA database. That's it. There is no major difference. Like whatever you use the normal ABAP program, the same programs will work as it is if you want. So normal programs will work as it is, and if you want, you can use some features of HANA. So we have to see what are the HANA features. So some features we can use HANA. It is not a complete HANA model. But when you come to S4 HANA, no traditional databases are supported. So only SAP database, nothing but the HANA database. All your program runs on HANA database. Now you can install this on the cloud or on premises. It's your wish. So we have two versions, SOH and S4 HANA. So now the note you have to remember is In developer point of view, all the coding is same except some table level changes. Whether you use SOH or S4 HANA, Suite on HANA or S4 HANA. In developer point of view, the codings, the keywords what we use will be the same. Example, here also we can create a CDSU, here also we can create a CDSU. So coding wise, both are same, but table level wise, Suite on HANA, which is nothing but the ECC version of HANA, ECC version of HANA and HANA version, table level changes happened. There are some tables in FI area which got deleted and new tables got inserted to speed up the process, which we'll see in the next class. So what are the table level changes happened in normal ECC and HANA, we'll be seeing in the next version. So other than the table level version changes, remaining coding standards will be the same in both SOH or S4H. So as a developer, you need not worry, but functionality wise, there are major changes in both. So in the SOH ECC version plus S4 HANA, there are major changes of functionality. So a functional team has to learn many concepts than the technical. So now why all of a sudden SAP has launched S4 HANA? Not all of a sudden, if they are planning from 30 years, what's the use? Now the point comes here is the S4H is not a upgrade. It's not an upgrade. It's a migration. It's a migration. So the point to be noted here is your existing architecture does not support HANA version. Your existing architecture does not support HANA version. So you have to buy new systems and you have to migrate. What is upgrade? So upgrade means upgrade. Example 4.32, you are going to 4.5, or you can go to 4.5 to 4.6, 4.6 to ECC 7, 4.6 to 4.7. So some programs are getting changed. So on the same existing software, without disturbing the data, you can go to the higher version. So more enhanced features will be coming. But if you want to use HANA, you have to shift your migration. You have to shift all the data to a new system. So it's a double work. We have to shift the entire data to the new system. Then we have to test each and every program whether it is working fine or not. The testing cycle is increased. And if it is not working, we have to fix the bugs. It's like a new project. So companies are worried to shift the existing architecture to HANA. But SAP says by 2025, SAP does not support third-party databases. So everyone has to use HANA. So already some companies started migrating to HANA. If you see the ads, if you see the openings, right now every company is asking for sure HANA and UI5. So these two become a part of requirements. So people who know HANA or UI5 apply. So it became a norm already. So after 1 year, without HANA, there won't be any openings. So now we'll see the trends of presentation layers. So in a presentation layer, let's assume we have something called as a report. The static screens, the reports or module pools, etc. module pools cannot run on web. Cannot run on web page. So earlier, 92, 93, 94, etc., the SAP programs, people used to go to the company and use it. If you want to withdraw the money, you used to go to the bank. So there was no internet concept. So at that time, SAP worked fine, 3-tier architecture, SAP 4.6, 4.7. At that time, it does not support web page. Later, once the web technology started, people started comparing it with Java. Java is flexible, you can access the programs from anywhere you want, etc. But SAP does not support web. So at that time, SAP came up with a concept called as BAPIs. So SAP came up a concept with BAPIs. BAPI, any web page can access this. So you can create a web page with Java or whatever script, JavaScript or VB script, whatever you want, you can design the web page. And then you can consume the data from SAP from any web page you want. To consume it, we used to use a BAPI. So ultimately, the screen is non-SAP, but the background is SAP. The screen, this is SAP. This is any web technology. Any web technology. So maximum cases when we come to web technologies, people use Java related products because it is more flexible and dynamic. So I am assuming that this is some Java related web page. Now, people who are using this in the front end, they are only seeing the Java versions. So people always assume that, okay, SAP is only database. The entire operations are taking back in the background, creation of purchase order, sales orders, everything is going in SAP. We are only using this web page as a source of communication, presentation, only for presenting. That means user interaction. We are using this web. But people are assuming this is a Java related application. So the credit is taken by the other companies. The entire action is performed in SAP, but the credit is taken in the background by some other company. So SAP thought that why I can't have my own technology, why I should depend on someone else. So in the next version, they came up with something called as BSPs. BSPs, business server pages. Nothing but ABAP plus HTML. ABAP plus HTML. So ABAP plus HTML, nothing but the BSPs, business server pages. They have taken over the license of HTML and renamed it as BHTML, business HTML. And they are designing a web page with business HTML. BSPs are two-tier architecture. Two-tier architecture is not that much flexible. Two-tier architectures are not that much flexible. Example, using HTML, if you design a program for one version, Internet Explorer 5, it won't work in Internet Explorer 6. So HTML is not that much dynamic. So ultimately, BHTML is not that much dynamic. So BSPs is a failure. Your entire CRM runs on BSPs. So it was a failure because of its non-flexibility. Then again they thought that why I should depend on why I should use the failure technology. Again they had a tie-up with Java once again. But this time they had official tie-up and they called it as Java WebDyn Pro. So we call this as Enterprise Portal. Enterprise Portal, EP. So SAP thought that this will rule the market because in ERP, SAP is leading. In ERP, SAP is leading. In web technologies, Java is leading. Both came together. So the background functionality is on SAP, the front end version is on Java. But we are not calling it as Java anymore. We are calling this as Enterprise Portal. Enterprise Portal. Portals, EP. Now, in a web page, if some data is missing, if the data is not coming properly, the SAP guy used to say, I am sending the data correctly. There is some problem in your system. But this Java guy cannot debug this SAP program. And SAP guy don't know what is happening in the front end. They are saying my BAPIs or etc. my RFCs are working fine. You have the problem, but they are saying yours is the problem. So whenever an issue comes, they are delegating it's your work, it's your work, it's your work, it's your work. Because these people don't know what happens here, these people don't know what happens here. So in SAP life, Enterprise Portal was the biggest failure. Then SAP came up with something new, which is nothing but SAP with ABAP WebDime Pro. WebDime Pro. So the front end also using SAP components only. So this was the biggest hit. So Web Technologies WebDime Pro from 2006 to 2016. 2006 to 2016, WebDime Pro ruled the market. So using a WebDime Pro application, you used to access all the SAP related information in a web page. And people who are sitting on premises, they used to use the normal transactions. And the people who want to access from a web, they used to use WebDime Pro. So till 2016, everything went perfectly. So till from 2010, 2006 to 2016, web technology, WebDime Pro plays a major role. In 2000, from 2015-16 onwards, people stopped going for internet centers. They started using mobiles. So mobiles, WebDime Pro does not suit on mobile. WebDime Pro is a heavier component. WebDime Pro is a heavier component. So WebDime Pro is not suitable on mobiles. Mobiles, nowadays we are getting 5GB, 6GB, 10GB RAM mobiles. But if you see 2 years back, all the mobiles are 1GB RAM or 2GB RAM maximum. On a 2GB RAM, you are trying to load a web page. It will take at least 2-3 minutes. At least 2-3 minutes. Example, you executed irctc.com. After 3 minutes, it will give you the screen. Now in that 3 minutes, all the Tatkal tickets booking is also over. So people are not happy with the speed of the program. When you select a button, it will revolve, and then it will give you the data. So it was WebDime Pro programs are not suitable for mobile. So SAP came up with something new, which is nothing but UI5, User Interface 5. UI5 indirectly uses HTML5 version, the current version of HTML. Plus, already they have the Java version components. So Java stack, they use the Java stack. On the Java stack, they use the script to make the program dynamic. So indirectly, the version what they have already taken the license, the version for which they already taken the license, plus this Java components, they have combined these two, and they came up with UI5, User Interface 5. UI, user interface. The screen is designed with the HTML components, HTML5 components, and they make it dynamic by using the scripting language. So the web page became very easy. The web page become a lighter component. So now the web page is designed with Java plus HTML, that is JavaScript plus HTML and make it dynamic. HTML is very lighter component, and JavaScript we can use, make the script very dynamic. That means the page very dynamic. So user interface 5, user interface with HTML 5 is what the UI 5. So web page is ready. Now the user wants to see sales data. So he is giving some date like this, from 1st August or 1st July to 30th July. 30th July, show me my sales. My manager is sitting somewhere, and on the mobile he is selecting the data from 1st July to 30th July. Show me the data. Web page is loaded in fraction of seconds. Web page is loaded in fraction of seconds. But now what happens is, in the program, we are writing a select statement on sales header. Sales header, that is VBAK. Then we are selecting sales item, that is VBAP. Selecting sales status, VBUK, VBUK and VBUP. And then loop at all the tables, fill final table and display. So entire data won't be stored on a single table. So as we are already working on SAP, you already know entire data won't be stored in a single table. So we have to select the data from multiple tables and then fill the final table and show that final table to the end user. Now this process is taking some time. At least 2 minutes or 3 minutes it will take. Now, if the request and response is more than 2 minutes, your web page will terminate. Timeout error. So, if these programs won't work fast, even though my web page is loading in fraction of seconds, it's of no use. But always in SAP, we'll write as coding best practices. We'll always use this concept. We'll get the data into internal tables, fill the internal tables to the final internal table and show that data. So definitely it will take some time. So the programs are not fast. In the normal ECC, the programs are not fast. So what SAP says is, use HANA. If you use HANA database, my programs will work fast. Simply using HANA database, your programs won't work fast. We have to change some concepts here. So the program, we can use something called as CDS view. CDS view. Example only I'm telling. If you use the CDS view, internal tables are completely eliminated. Internal tables are completely eliminated. Are eliminated. That means we need not write loop statements to fill the final table. The final table will be coming to the screen in one shot. How it will come? How it will come? Let's see. Very important concept. So interview question. What is code push down technique? What is code push down technique? So now if you have a presentation, and this is your application, this is your database. So presentation, application, database. Now in your database, VBAK, VBAP, VBUK, VBUP, some tables are there. So we are getting the data in the normal ECC, we are getting the data into select whatever you want into VBAK, select whatever you want into VBAP, select whatever you want into say VBUK, like this. Then loop, read, append. So we are using some loops and reads and appends and giving the data to the user. So this process is taking some time. But one more way of writing the code, in the application server. So the database remains the same. We can write a join. Select whatever fields you want from VBAK, VBAP, VBUK, VBUP. Inner join or left outer join, whatever you want. Inner join or left outer join you can use. Now you are getting the entire data into T underscore final table. Now if you see this join concept, in the join concept, we can select multiple tables data in one shot. Joins are the fastest. So I can minimize the number of loops and reads here. If I write a join, I can minimize the number of loops and reads here. So ultimately the loops and reads are minimized. If this takes 4 to 5 minutes, this will take 30 seconds only. Within 30 seconds, you will get the final table. Display the final table, pass the final table to the UI5 application. So within 30 seconds, you can get the data. Joins are the fastest. But in ECC, joins has two drawbacks. So joins. So in ECC joins. In ECC, first one, in left outer join, we cannot use right side table fields in where condition. In a left outer join, we cannot use right side table fields in a where condition. So in a selection screen, we can have left side fields as well as right side fields also. So wherever we want to use both the fields, we cannot use. In inner join, everything is possible. But every case is not possible with inner join. Some cases we have to use left outer join. In a left outer join, we cannot use right side table fields in the where condition. First drawback. Second, if the data is used, inner join might end up in dumps. If the data is very used, the inner join might end up in dumps. What is this dumps? Now, the join is taking place. In the application buffer. In the application buffer, it will fetch the data of table 1, table 2, table 3, table 4, and it joins. If the data is used, if the memory is not sufficient, the program will go to dumps. So for the first 5 months or 6 months, these programs will work fast. After that, your programs will go to dumps, terminates. So that's the reason we always say, don't use joins, always use internal tables. So as of now, internal tables are the best one to use. So always we'll use internal tables and then display the data. So now To speed up the process, if you use joins in UI5, it will go to dumps. And we cannot use left out join for all scenarios. So left out join has some drawbacks. So later, we have something called as views. Views. So I can write the program. Now I can write the program with a view. So presentation, application, database. So in a database, I can create a database view. I can create a database view with VBAK, VBAP, VBUK, KNA, whatever, VBUP. And then write a select statement, select whatever you want from that ZZDB view. A view will never go to dump because views are joined. Views are joined in database layer, and database has very huge memory. So anything joined on the database level will not go to dumps. So ultimately, if you create a view, your data will come to the screen in fraction of seconds. But database view can only use inner join. Database view uses inner join only. Every scenario cannot be done with inner joins only. So again the problem started. Case 1, first problem. Again we have to go back to internal tables only. And moreover, in the final table, we will have some calculated fields also. Some calculated fields also. In the view level, we cannot do the calculations directly. Whether to do the calculations, we have to get the data to the application server. Again, I have to loop at the table. Loop at t underscore final, again calculations, and then modify the final table, and then display the data. So without a loop, I cannot run my ABAP code. Definitely at least minimum one loop should be there. Minimum, that is minimum. As the number of loops or the number of tables increases, the program display time is varying. So even though you are using the latest technology of web page UI5, because of your program, your SAP existing architecture, the programs are becoming slow. So to make this fast, SAP says, use my HANA database. Use my HANA database. What is this HANA database? What is the advantage of HANA database? Let's see this. Advantage of HANA database. Now, a simple example. This is your hard disk. This is your hard disk. Now, this is your CPU. This is your CPU, Central Processing Unit. Whenever you execute any program, first the system will go to your hard disk and find the program and the related data. Find the program and related data and gets loaded into the RAM. Your variables, your program logic, etc. will be loaded. So whenever you execute the program for the first time, it will take some extra time to execute because it has to load everything and execute. Example, on your mobile, restart your mobile and use gmail.com. It will take say 2 minutes. Next time, if you open, it will open in 30 seconds. Because already some components are there in the RAM, so the CPU need not load those components. So in simple, if any data is already there in the RAM, then that program works much faster. But your programs cannot store data on the RAM. When you switch off the RAM, when you switch off your laptop, the data RAMs are volatile. So the data is lost. So what we generally do, we'll again put the entire data back to the hard disk and save the data and come out. Again, when you next time load it, the cycle will repeat. But if the data is there in the RAM, the programs works much faster. So we call it as cache memory. Some people will call it as cache memory. So it is picking the data from these places. Now, based on this architecture, SAP has designed the HANA. What is this HANA model? What is this HANA model? So, till now, in ECC version, presentation, user interaction, application, the main processor, and the database. Whenever you want to process anything, first, I am loading the data into the processor. I am loading the data into the processor. Indirectly, internal tables. And then processing the logic. And then giving the output. And then giving the output. So this is a normal execution of SAP programs. Every time, and once the program execution is over, I will remove this. I will remove these tables from the memory so that I can take a new program. So again, if you execute the same program once again I have to get the data to the tables. So every time when I execute the program, every time I have to load the entire database data into the internal tables. So now in HANA, what they did is, this is your normal database. This is your database. Now, whenever you switch on the database, this entire data is loaded into the RAM. So whatever tables are there, entire data is loaded into the RAM in memory. And they came up with multi-core, multi-processor CPUs. Multi-core, multi-processor CPUs. So earlier the processing was done in the work processor. Now the work processor is moved to the database layer. So multiple processors are working on these tables parallelly at the same time. These are the RAM tables. So your data is already there in the RAM. Earlier, if you write a join, the system has to fetch everything to the application server, then join, and then display. Now, I need not fetch anything to the application server. Already the data is there in the RAM. It will directly join these two and gives you the output. It will directly join these two and gives you the output. And if you want to do any calculations while writing the select statement itself, example, I can write select VBLN, AUDAT, VKORG, so on. And I can write some case statements here. In a select statement itself, I can write a case statements here and do the logic. Like tax 0.1 into VBAP-NETWR as tax. Something like this, I can do the calculation, the select statement. So ultimately, I need not get the data into internal table, loop at it, and then display. While writing the select statement itself, I can do everything. And we have 9 types of joins. 9 types of joins. Inner join, left outer join, right outer join, full outer join, dynamic joins, like this spatial joins. Like this, we have 9 types of joins to suit all the requirements. That means some new keywords got introduced. We have something called as for loop. For loop, which can be used in selects. In selects, we can use for loop. For loop is not there till now. We can use selects. So now the entire processing is happening in the database level. Database level. So earlier, the entire processing is somewhat like this. Right? So the entire processing model was like this. Where this is your application server, this is your database. Now the entire processing model became like this. This is your work processor, this is your database, this is your database. So the entire processing is happening in the database. So what we call this as code push down technique. Code push down technique. What is code push down technique? So instead of writing the entire logic which works on the application server, if you write the logic to get the data to application server and process, it will take some time to process the data. Instead of that, we have to write a code in such a way that the entire operation works in the RAM level, database level. For this, we can write the code with CDS view. CDS view is a new concept where we can use 9 types of joins in the CDS view. So we have to understand what is this 9 types of joins, how it works, and based on that we have to understand the CDS views. And some of your select statements got changed. Select statements got changed. So what are the new changes happened in those select statements? So all these topics we will be covering in the course in the coming days, how to write the code, etc. Now, this course is mainly for the people who already completed ABAP. So the RISE FM components will remain the same. RISE FM. Suppose if I want to send an IDOC, we have to get the data from the database. So here we won't teach you how to create an IDOC, but we will teach you how to get the data in fast way. That means here we will be writing something called as native SQL statements. We will be writing like store procedures, etc. Store procedures. So we have to understand what is the store procedures concept. Indirectly reusable code. So function modules are minimized. Instead of the function modules, we will be using something called as store procedures. So this is the thing what we have to understand. So it will take roughly 30 hours. 30 hours to complete the basics. So now the demo is divided into 2 parts. First, just the introduction of the demo. Why SAP launched S4? What is the purpose of the HANA database? So HANA database supports row store tables. Second, column store tables. HANA database supports row store tables and column store tables, whereas traditional database only supports row store. Row store tables are very slow. So in ECC, we are fetching the data from row store and storing in internal table, which is a column store. We are fetching the row store table and storing in a column store, and then processing the column tables. So always if the data is stored in columns, the calculations can be done in a much faster way. Example. Your database. To make you easily understand, we will show a table like this. VB, sale ID, date, customer, quantity, price, etc. To show you easily, to make you understand easily, we will show you the tables like this. So we are showing you like this. Sale ID 1, sale ID 2, sale ID 3, so on. But actually, in your database, these will be stored somewhat like this. A memory is a series of continuous locations. So sale ID 1, sale ID 1, 1st July, customer K1, quantity, say 10, price, say something. Sale ID 2, sale ID 2, 2nd July, some customer K2, quantity something, price something. So your data will be stored in the continuous sequence of rows. Continuous sequence of rows. Now, I want the total of last 1 week. What the system has to do? If you write select and select, if you write select and select, your system will start scanning one by one field and see, okay, this is the price. It will remember that price. And then it will come and again scan remaining. It will pick that price. Like this, it will scan. It will scan one by one field like this. Your reader can read only in one direction. So it will start reading the data like this in one direction, and then it will collect all the prices, sum up all the prices, and gives you the result. So select and select is very slow because of this reason. So if you use select into table, when you write select into table, the data is fetched into internal tables like this. Internal table store the data in columns. Internal table data is stored in the columns. So on a column, you can use some control breaks and do the calculations much easily. If the data is stored in columns, the calculations will become easily. The search will become easy. So operating on a column table is faster than a row table. So don't use select and select, don't use nested selects, etc. We have seen. So all the database standards we have seen, because your data is stored in the rows. If you write select and select, the program has to scan each and every record and arrange it properly and then gives you the result. It is taking a lot of time. Instead of that, get everything rows into columns and then perform the operation. Right now, the in-memory database, all your rows, when you switch on, all the rows when you switch on will be by default will be stored in the column tables. In-memory database, in the memory, all your data is there in columns. So I need not fetch the data into internal table again. I can directly manipulate the data on these RAM tables, which is faster. So for UI5 apps, if you use HANA model, then only those will be faster. If you are not using HANA model, if you are using the ECC model, which is again still slow because we have to get the data into internal tables and manipulate. So nowadays it's become a norm. People always ask me, sir, which one to learn after ECC, which one to learn after SAP ABAP, which one to learn. UI5 is also hot cake, HANA is also hot cake. UI5 or HANA. So either you have to do the UI5 or HANA. If you learn UI5, you are designing the web page, but the data comes from database. So the background program, 1 minute. So the background program still requires the normal HANA concepts. So even though you are learning UI5, you have to learn HANA for sure. So 1 minute, 1 minute. So now, if you, even though you are using UI5, if you don't know the HANA concepts, how can you write the background program? So both are hotcakes only, both are very important. And if you want the future, WebDrive is no more supported. And nowadays, every company is interested to show the program. Now, we are working from home. So almost everyone is working from the internet only. You are not going to the shop. You are not going to shop to buy any items. Everything is online. So now every company want to put their data online only. So to put the data on online, enterprises, big companies are using SAP. So to put your data on online, a web page is a must. So to design the web page, people are using UI5. When you are using UI5, the data retrieval is slow if you are using ECC system. So ultimately, SAP suggests use HANA concepts so that your program will become faster. So I just gave introduction to a row store and column store and what is S4. Tomorrow we will see in detail programmatically and see the difference between the normal SAP ABAP program and the HANA program. I will show you practically what is the difference. So attend the demo tomorrow also, and then you can finalize whether you can continue or not. So tomorrow also the demo is free. I will be sharing the link. So attend that demo tomorrow. Please drop a WhatsApp message to 8121285459. Please drop a WhatsApp message to this number. So you will get the demo links. So demo is free. You can attend the demo tomorrow. And now you can clarify your doubts, whatever doubts you have. I will continue in detail tomorrow about the row store, column store, and the programming part. Any doubts?
I sent you some questions in the chat.
Yes, Avinash. Yes, Avinash, you can ask.
But do we get any material at the end of the course?
Now, first one, the class videos will be shared. Soft copy of material will be provided. Example, whatever I have covered the theory part, you will get this notes today. In memory, what is in memory, what is column store, what is data company. We have not covered all. So after the class is over, we will be sharing the details, the notes part with all the programs, and we will be providing you 3 months system access for practice. Even though the class will be completed in roughly 41 month, so Saturdays and Sundays is a holiday, so roughly it will take 45 days. So even though we complete the class in 45 days, one more 45 days will be provided for the system access. And people, we will be providing you the technical design models and the coding standards of HANA with some functional specs, so that you can keep the functional specs in your resume if you want. If you want to show some experience, you can put those functional specs in your resume. And moreover, I am not a pure faculty. I am already working, so I have 14 years of experience in the technical work, SAP technical. So I am working on SAP ABAP as well as HANA. And now for future, you have to learn C4C also. So ABAP for cloud. So sorry, not C4C, it is A4C. ABAP for cloud, A4C. So ABAP for cloud. So this is your future topics. Just now it started. So right now, as a developer, you should learn ABAP. Then HANA ABAP, which is nothing for A4H. Then cloud ABAP. As of now, all the companies are not going for cloud. So still we are using A4H. In the future, people will start asking A4C also, ABAP for cloud also. These are the topics what we have to learn in the future. This is the topic what we will be learning future. So I am assuming you already know this. I am covering this now.
Will there be any overview on UI5 as part of this course?
Pardon me?
Will there be any overview on UI5 as part of this course?
Overview will be there, but not the coding. If I start the coding, I have to explain the JavaScripts, etc. Again, it will take 2 to 3 months again, extra course. So only the overview till how to get the data to the tables. We will show you how to display the web page. That you have to learn in the UI5 course, separate course. We will give you an overview, but not any practical concepts of UI5.
Got it. Thank you.
So as this is, can you hear me?
Yes.
So as this is a migration, are we going to get two systems, one for ECC and one for S4HANA, to see how actually the migration is going to happen?
So the migration is going to, and now we have something called as two things in here. One is functional and one is technical. As a technical person, you will be only creating the programs which are related to migration, but we don't do the migration work. So here we will show you some examples how the data is migrated, but we can't provide two systems because everyone practice migration work. System memory is not sufficient. So we won't provide that access here.
So we will work directly on S4HANA system converting.
Yes, but we will be explaining you the migration things, what the developer is involved. Those steps we will be explaining you.
But we will be converting ECC tables. I mean, those tables will be available in S4HANA, whatever VBAP, whatever you said.
The roles,
and
we have roles. One is technical role, one is functional role, one is admin role, and one more role which is nothing but the migration. We will have a separate role. So that migration part does not comes under the technical. Of course, some companies they will assign this also to the technical developer, but this is a separate concept. We have some tools using which we can migrate the data.
Yeah, that is fine. But you are going to cover how we are going to convert the all these standard SAP tables to view CDS views, right?
So I'll be showing you roughly some by taking some data from the notepad, etc. But we don't take the other SAP system, because if you move other SAP system to this data completely, then the memory is not sufficient. The system is earlier we used to give the access, but these days we are not giving the access. But
That is fine. That is fine. Like whatever we are going to get the test system S/4HANA, that already we will have
all
all
the
the ECC, all the
yes,
tables, and then we will convert them into CDS views by
yes,
using these 9 types of joins.
yes,
And after converting them into CDS views, then we will move them into, like, are we going to see how it is going to move to the universal ledger, like SEDoka and MacDoka? That also we will cover here,
yes,
or
yes.
okay, okay. And are we going to see advanced techniques like RMDPs and all that?
No,
Okay.
AMDPs we will be seeing, not R.
Mhm. Okay.
So I think
Hello.
now just drop in
Uh,
your mail ID. Drop in your mail ID to sri.hanabab so that you will get the syllabus what we will be covering. Yes, someone is asking the
so
doubt.
as part of this course, will you cover modeling concepts as well? Star view join, star join,
Yes, we
those
will be
concepts will
covering
be
the
covered?
modeling concepts also. Yes, we will be covering.
So after this course, like how long would be the practical session? You will give the server access?
So 3 months, total 3 months we will be giving. After that you can take
Okay.
rents. Extra, you can extend by
Okay.
paying some extra money.
Okay.
So the technical part, the programming part, I have not shown you anything today. Tomorrow I'll be showing you the technical part. So attend the demo tomorrow also, so that you will have a clear picture and you will have an idea. Then you can decide whether to continue or not. Any other doubts? So Sai, I'm not sure what you are trying to ask. SAP Hans, what is SAP Hans?
And one more thing, do we need to have any prior knowledge of WebDyn Pro or UI5 or any other things apart from
Only
ABAP
basic,
to
only
understand this?
prerequisite is ABAP. Only ABAP.
Okay.
Rest all, even we'll cover the object-oriented fundamentals also. Object-oriented ABAP. So for AMDPs, we have to require some classes. So we will be teaching you whatever fundamentals, object-oriented principles required to cover the AMDPs. So even though you don't require, even though you don't know object-oriented, we will be teaching those fundamentals. So only prerequisite is ABAP RISE FM. That means once we fetch the data, you want to display it as an ALV or you want to send it as a file, etc. That I won't teach. We will only show you how to fetch the data from the database in a much faster way. So the database fundamentals will be covered till fetching the data into internal table. How to play with the internal table? It's a normal ABAP only. Nothing will change. If you don't want to use normal ABAP, you can use UI5 or something else to display the data. So we don't require any other fundamentals other than ABAP. First thing is one more thing. Even though you don't know ABAP also, you can listen to the course. But once we are explaining, we are fetching the data and showing you as an ALV report. So now people ask, sir, can you please explain ALV report? I don't know. So if I start covering ALV report, we have to cover the entire ABAP once again. So it will take some time. So that's the reason we are saying prerequisite is ABAP. Rest all we'll teach.
Okay.
Okay. So I have total 14 years of experience of working. At the same time, I am having 14 years of teaching experience also. I have handled more than 1,000 batches of ABAP. So if you want, you can come to Ameerpet and ask about my name. They will tell you. So I am not only pure faculty, I am working as well as I am teaching. So the latest trends, whatever we are using in the companies, the standards, according to that, we will be teaching you the real-time concepts only. So whatever is not used in the real time, we will be covering that. But whatever we use in the real time, that will be covered with a practical example. So we don't use Z tables and explain you the figures. Instead of that, we'll use the standard tables, SAP standard tables, and show you so that you can have some exam real time feeling. Any other doubts? Your class will be from 6 to 7. As this is the demo, it got extended, but it will be from 6 to 7. If I feel that the course is progressing slow, then we'll be covering classes on Saturdays also. But I prefer to give holiday on Saturdays because Monday to Friday, whatever we practice, you can practice, revise it on Saturday and Sunday. That's the main concept. I give holidays on Saturdays and Sundays. Any other doubts? Okay, thank you everyone. Catch you tomorrow. Tomorrow at 6. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.